Hello and welcome. Listen, you already know who I am. Little Black Book here again, talking to you guys, well, about Queen's Court Season 2. Yes, I am sitting down with David from Queen's Court Season 2. Let me tell you something. I watched it. An amazing show. Can't lie to you. It was mature. It was sexy. It was grown. Okay. It was seasoned. Okay. And there was really great conversations on this. So if you haven't watched it, my people, then you've missed out. But don't worry. I am going to be chatting up with David, who was a finalist on the show as well. And he had a great, awesome journey with Lisa Ray. And I can't wait to chop it up with him. Now, you know me. I like to go deeper than just the show. I like to find out a little bit more about the very people that are on these shows. Let me tell you this. This is an amazing man. Now, one thing I'm going to tell you about him is he's smooth. So be careful, all right? Get your gloves right, rubber gloves out ready, because he's going to slip right through your hands. Whew, just like that. David, how you doing, man?
I'm good, man. I appreciate being here on the show with you, brother. Yeah, absolutely.
It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure. I can't lie to you. When I watched the show, yourself, Booker, were really great people on the show. I loved your maturity. I loved the fact that you guys also were competing with respect, and you were really vying for love. And I think that is something that is awesome, refreshing to see on our screens. It was nice to witness, if I'm honest with you. And so to have you on here to talk to you about your journey on the show, as well as also who you actually are outside of that, I'm excited. I can't lie to you. Very much excited.
Appreciate it, man. Appreciate it. Yeah.
No worries. Now, before we get into any festivities, I like to do a thing called human verification. It is something that we warm up each person on the show just to make sure people are acquainted. You know, make sure that you know that we warm you up. We don't want to throw you in cold into this particular arena. So we want to warm you up. Is that okay?
Okay. All right.
Fantastic. Now I know you smooth, so you know ain't nothing going phases you. Know what I'm saying to you? You got the counters ready, so I'm trusting in you, David. All right.
All right. All right.
Okay. So my first question, real simple, is if you are on a plane and the plane needs to land somewhere in any country you like, what country would that be and why?
Probably the closest country to me because I'm in a plane that needs to land. But if I have my choice of countries to go to, you know, I'd love to go to Tanzania. I'd love to go to Ghana, Nigeria. But, you know, I've had some great times in like India as well. So there's a lot of great countries around the world, but I probably would stop somewhere in Africa.
I love that. Have you visited Africa before?
I have not. It is certainly on the bucket list. So,
jeez. No, they're not ready for you when you arrive, my guy. You know what I mean?
All right. See, is my queen there? We come into Africa.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Now you gonna have some competition because the Nigerians are slit talkers too, boy. So that's your competition right there. You go to Nigeria, they gonna talk you good. So be ready for that. You know what I mean?
Hey, you know what? Don't get in the counting match with an ad machine. It'll be all right.
I definitely hear that. Question number two.
All right.
Real simple. Okay. All right. Real simple. iPhone or Android?
iPhone, no green bubbles. Come on, knock it off.
In this economy, in this time, you still want to choose iPhone?
Look, I get it. I understand some of the complexity around an iPhone in a lot of countries around the world. I get it. Android technology has like went through the roof. I get it. I used to carry one of each. Okay. But I'm just gonna go with iPhone. I just need something simple that's gonna do the trick.
All right, fair enough. Fair enough. Question number
AirDrop,
three.
I mean, it's hard to beat all that.
I can't lie to you. I'm on iPhone, so I'm not even gonna try to pretend it. And I'm filming on an iPhone as well. So to be honest, I ain't gonna hold you against that one. You know what I'm saying to you? But I still have my
Oh,
Androids as well. So I do a bit
right,
of both.
right. A little
Yeah,
backup. Yeah.
yeah, nothing crazy. You know what I mean? Yeah, nothing crazy. All right. Question number three. Your favorite meal?
Favorite meal?
Mm.
Oh wow. Um, if we're going favorite, I'm gonna say my mom's sweet potato pie. If it's
Ooh,
not
okay.
like something I got to get directly from her, then I don't know. I love seafood, man. So crab legs, something like that, Alaskan king crab goes
Love
well.
that. Love that. I love that. Crab legs is cool. I can't even play with you. You got good taste. Final question. Final
All
question.
right.
Cereal or the milk in the bowl first?
Oh man.
Careful
Cereal
now.
first. Yeah, yeah, wait. Cereal first because then the milk is sweeter. Like you can't do that backwards. You gotta get the cereal, let it sweeten the milk. What I mean, you're gonna
Uh
put a
huh.
little sugar and all that with it too, right? And then yeah. You gotta
So
give
you
the milk a
basically.
chance to soak up all those Fruit Loops. You know what I'm saying? You need all those Lucky Charms, all those marshmallows to get into the milk, right? That way you can,
I hear
yeah,
it.
absolutely.
I hear it. I love
Too
that. And
funny.
I definitely hear that. Okay, listen, I think you passed our human verification. You are a human being. We welcome you. We appreciate you. I cannot wait to chop it up with you now as well. Okay,
All
we're
right.
gonna get some festivities. Now, obviously, listen. For those of you who are watching us and you've just joined as well, I am joined by David from the Bravo show, Queen's Court season 2. Okay, listen, it was a great season, as I said before. If you don't know David, he's a tech entrepreneur, an author, an award-winning inventor from Dallas, Texas, who is celebrated for his contributions and leadership in the tech industry. And he was a finalist on the newest show, Queen's Court Season 2 as well, which we're going to discuss right now. But before we get into those
Yeah.
things about Queen's Court, I do want to get to know you a bit more because I think whenever we do these shows, they talk about you on the show. They talk about how you moved on the show, whatever, whatever. But we don't get to grips with who you are as an individual person because outside the show, you're still David. You know what I'm saying to you? Like,
Yeah.
this is why they chose you. So I want to know a question. Who is David and what is David's story?
Oh wow. Um, David is a Dallas native that grew up in South Dallas, very humble beginnings. Um, I just wanted to make my mom and dad happy. Um, Over time, as I started to get into the tech world, I saw the advances that it can help for one individually and what it can do for a community or a society. And so I really have been in my professional life, I've only had two goals. One is to mentor, because mentoring has been so much to me. And the other is to invent something of large impact that would help society. Hence the different patents I've written or my passion for technology and how far I go with that. So that's probably me personally. Um, on a personal side, my name is David, but my family calls me Chris. My dad's name was David, so I'm very laid back and lax. Those titles and stuff mean nothing to my family. I'm just Chris. And so, I'm informal. I like to have fun. I ride a motorcycle. Um, I love to play games. And every day is just about, living life and enjoying it. The currency of life is smiles and so like and good memories. So I try not to miss any of that.
I love that as well. And you said obviously your family call you Chris, not David. Why
Right.
is that they call you Chris and not David?
Yeah, so my father's name is David Williams, and when he when he was alive and I was born, he was already David, so they call me by my middle name, Chris, um, and so that's how I got to be known as Chris.
Now you're quite candid on the show actually about your upbringing when it concerns your father. And you and Lisa Ray spoke at quite a length at sometimes about your parents and them passing away. For those of us who didn't watch the show, um, tell us a little bit more about your upbringing and what that was like for you,
Sure.
because, like I said, you're named after your father,
Yeah.
and unfortunately, obviously, he has passed away. So, tell us a little bit more about your upbringing in that respect.
Yeah, yeah. So, look, when I was 8 years old, my father committed suicide at our home. It changed everything. I had to grow up a lot faster, become the man of the house, take on chores and responsibilities. Um, Things were different, right? Dad wasn't there. The things that we could afford and go do, we couldn't do those things anymore. And that was a huge impact on my life. And never in my life has, my father's passing away ever been a blessing or a good thing to me. I do see the blessing in it now, being able to share that story with others so that others can know that, it can happen to you and you can heal, you can get past it, that counseling is okay. I know sometimes there's a stigma behind that, but counseling was the best thing in the world that my mother took us to, my sister and I too, so we could heal over that. And yeah, it was a lot to go through back in those days. Um, it has impacted a lot of decisions I've made in my own life. Um, my son, my stepson, who is my son, I am in his life eternally. And um, me missing my father probably was one of the things that made fatherhood so important to me in my own life. So I think that all in, they say that nothing happens to you, it happens for you. I think that this was just a very long um, loop back for the blessings to start to show themselves. But I think there is a lesson in all of it, and hopefully it can benefit others.
Now, I notice obviously it is a very heavy subject, and I see even the demeanor for you it changes a little bit when you talk about it because it's a heavy subject, right? As well.
It is, yeah.
Um, but I watched on the show and I saw, and you mentioned about being in your son-in-law's life, but we also saw your friend come out and say how instrumental you were in being an upstanding brother to him as well. You talk about how this is that your father's passing has impacted you in terms of that you had to grow up really, really fast. Tell us a bit more about that upbringing. Because I think there's a lot of men who actually have been
Oh
in that
yeah,
space where they have to grow up really, really
yeah,
fast. What was that like for you growing up that fast? What was some of the
yeah.
influences or things that had to change for you in that sense?
Sure, sure. So I remember I lived on a budget. Every day was $2.25, 75 cents for bus fare, $1 for lunch, 50 cents for a snack until my mother got off work. She would work overtime in the morning and in the evening. So I would have to catch the city bus to school. Well, back in those days, you got pizza only on one day of the week, which was Friday, and I wanted more than one slice. What kid doesn't want more than one slice of pizza? So I started selling candy at school so I could buy more lunch. Um, that really started to ground me in the concept of business and reality and responsibility and doing my share and trying to help the family out. All of those things kind of those dots started to connect after my father's passing. Um, and just I'll tell you, and just sticking with it, man, having some passion about things, never giving up. My brother, he's famous for saying it, just never give up. You don't have a chance if you don't take a chance. And so he never lets me forget who I am. I'm so grateful of that because this world will put a lot of pressure on you to make you forget the superstar that you are, the superhero that everybody has inside of them. And so with good people like that around, man, I just think that it yields wonderful things. They say 1 and 1 is 11, right? You just got to bring your best self, get close enough together, you can do something exponential.
I love that. How, in the sense of obviously for us as men, when we're growing up, right, we often look at our fathers for we don't look for it, but we base our masculinity on that. And for you, obviously, again, unfortunately, my condolences, losing your father. Where did you then gain your masculinity? Because obviously, that is oftentimes something that as men we grow into. So where was your influences coming from in terms of, firmly grounding your masculinity? How did you not fall into the, I guess, quote unquote, the toxic masculinity, or go into the gangs to kind of show and prove your masculinity? Where did your influences come from?
Sure. It wasn't easy and it wasn't perfect, but my mother did something else that was incredible. She set us up with big brothers and big sisters. And so I have a big brother. He and I are still brothers to this day. His son, who's 25, um, is my little brother. What a perfect continuum of life, and brotherhood, mentorship. And I also, right now, I sit on the board of Big Brothers Big Sisters, so that's kind of surreal and serendipitous too. But in those days, yeah, man, my big brother was huge for me. Some of the professors at school, like maybe my ROTC instructor, was really important to me back in those days. And I was looking at my uncles and stuff, trying to figure out what does it require, what does it take to be a man, right? What color shirt goes with a tie, or jacket and socks and shoes and all that kind of stuff, or just how to talk to a girl, or you know what a man is supposed to do, right? Just all of those things, they help to connect the dots. And I was thirsty for that mentorship, and so at any point where I could learn from them, I soaked it up.
And I love that you mentioned about the fashion, even where the tie and everything. Where does your fashion sense come from? Because you be wearing the bright trainers, matching the bow tie. I mean, or the tie. You know what I'm saying? She very eloquent,
Oh
very
man.
dapper, very classy. Where does that inspiration come from?
Oh man, we'll sell no wine before it's time. So the the a lot of that matching and stuff, man. I'm gonna just keep it all the way real with you. Look, man, when you grow up trying to make ends meet, trying to match a Coca-Cola T-shirt with some Pepsi pants, and go to school and not get laughed at. You're trying to put some of that stuff together. You get real creative, right? Einstein will tell you that innovation is the mother. I mean, necessity is the mother of innovation. And so, when you go without, man, you get real creative. And, once you get a career and you got a steady income coming in, you can start to put a few pieces together, and that mix and match will start getting real nice after a while. And so it's just been time of, me putting time in doing that. But yeah, I appreciate it, man. I never leave the swag at home.
I love that. You definitely don't need this swag
Yeah.
at home. So obviously we know that you're in tech as well, right? I know you're in tech. But obviously young boys have young dreams. Yeah? Some of us want to be soccer players, some of us want to be football players, some of us want to be basketball players, and some of us want to be, baseball players. What was your dream as a young boy growing up?
Oh my God. As a young boy growing up, my dream was to be an astronaut.
Ooh.
And how ironic or serendipitous you want to say it is, the first patent I received was for connecting LTE to satellite technology. And so it's a dual connectivity Wi-Fi router is what the patent is for. But yeah, I wanted to be an astronaut when I was a kid. So it's and I've met an astronaut or two over the years, and it's not very easy. It requires a little bit of luck and a whole lot of hard work and a lot of patience. And these days, I guess probably SpaceX to help you out. But yeah.
I hear that. I mean, is there any chance you can still become an astronaut?
Nah, maybe not. Maybe on the tour, I mean, like once Elon or someone figures that part out, maybe on a tour.
Definitely.
I don't want to spend 9 months, eating space food or something. Like, I don't know, that might be a little fun, different.
Listen, I can't join you. I'd have to leave it for you guys because it looks fun, but it doesn't look fun. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I'm definitely keep my 2 feet on the ground
after a year.
You know what I mean?
Right.
I'm keeping my 2 feet on the ground.
Can't just call it Uber.
Listen, that's what I'm trying to say. That's the only thing that's gonna be X about me. It's Uber X. That's it. That's about as far as you gonna get me. Ain't nowhere near the station. That's it. So I ain't gonna be on the
just a little drive by. Right.
Yeah, can't be doing that, bro. I gotta have 2 feet on the ground. I'm scared of heights. So for you then, obviously you want to be an astronaut. That was your kind of dream. You're still involved in tech, which kind of links you back to that space anyway. obviously growing up, then you're going through school, you're changed. Like I said, you're coming from a background where financially there's some hardship, right? You haven't become the man of
Yeah.
your house almost as well. You have to figure that out. Like I said, your mom took you through put you in therapy as well. So you're doing some work there, an emotional and mental space. But high school is a very tumultuous time. You know what I mean? Kids are trying to figure out who they are, what they're gonna be. People are reinventing themselves. You know what I'm saying? That's when you start realizing the hierarchy's real. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
What was David like in high school? What was David
Oh
like in high school?
man.
Because you're charming now. So was it the same charming guy then? Was it a different person?
Yeah, yeah, it wasn't all put together back then. No. Um, Still a lot of financial woes. So no, the clothes weren't um as, polished. Um, and I was 5'4" as a freshman, 5'4" as a freshman. And so I don't know on the metric system that might be less than 2 meters, I'm sure. Um, so I was a really short guy in high school. I loved ROTC. I took that course 4 years, almost 4 years for my high school time there. And so I was heavy in ROTC. I was short at first. I got taller over time. I worked fast food just like every other teenager did. I think I had a couple of jobs at one point in time trying to make ends meet. Um, yeah, man. I mean, just, regular old kind of high school kid, probably not the favorite, probably not somebody you would pick for a TV show or to be a tech exec. Grades were, C's and B's, and so I was just kind of, making my way through school, doing the best that I can. Not only did I lose my father, but I lost a number of aunts and uncles and my grandmother as well my freshman year. And so I had a lot of death through my family up into my high school career. And so it's just kind of getting through a lot of those things, navigating with it. Our house caught on fire, so we had to deal with all that kind of stuff too. So school was just, best you could make out of it. That's what it was. And back then, the stuff they taught us back then was like it was 9 planets. It's only 8. So some of the stuff they taught, you couldn't even use it in the future, right? So, I think out of high school, what I learned was to be adaptable, to continue to learn.
To go through a season where, like you said, you lose aunts, grandmas, you lost your father as well. How, and I know obviously you might have been in therapy, but how do you find the drive to keep going forward? Because if you keep getting hit, especially at a young age, it's a lot to deal with. How are you finding the drive to keep moving forward, to keep putting a foot in front of the other, and not lose your bearings and lose all sense of reality in a sense?
Back then, I would say my sister was a big influence on me. She was my sister's. I'm 6'2". My sister's 6 feet tall, tall, beautiful. She was in the cheerleading, straight A's. She did wonderful, and so I could always look up to her. And even whether in high school or even when my father passed, my sister was my hero. She was the one that led me out of the house when all of that was going on. And she's always been my hero. She went to the Air Force, and so I joined ROTC. Her first car was a Cavalier, mine was too. So I'm just trying to walk in my big sister's footsteps, but just trying to learn and be the best me I could be. Yeah.
Now, obviously, that is a powerful situation where obviously you've got someone to kind of model on for that space as well. How did you, obviously having that person to kind of to rest on, etc. How did you deal with it mentally then? How did you? I can't even say overcome because it's a journey.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not necessarily overcoming.
Yeah.
It's working through. How were you? How were you doing that? You know what I mean? To go through it. How were you able to do
Yeah.
that?
It wasn't easy. I remember times crying myself to sleep saying, I wish my dad was here. Right. Um, I remember being in situations where maybe it was, some bully or somebody really big I had to deal with or get in a fight with, and I wish he was around to help me understand how to deal with it. Or, once I started, dating and talking to girls, how to do so, right? Um, it was tough to deal with all those kinds of things. I think if anything, where I probably found some solace was I had a few things that I was passionate about. I was passionate about ROTC. I really, really loved that in high school. Before then, I was passionate about music or drawing. And so my mom tried to keep me as interested in those things as possible. Um, and man, a little bit of luck and a whole lot of prayer, just keeping it real, man. I have friends and cousins um, that I grew up with that it didn't turn out so well, right? Things happen. Some passed away, some were shot and hurt really bad, um, and so it's been a grind, man. But you just can't give up. When I think about today, my sister was that beacon of hope for me back then. When I think about today, and you hear certain stories, you hear Jay-Z say the geniusness of what they did was that they never gave up, right? You hear other stories about people never giving up. Michaela de Prince, the beautiful ballerina from Sierra Leone that was living as an orphan and all sorts of things and came out of that and never gave up, right? When you hear those stories, you find some inspiration, man. I think inspiration is the greatest gift one human can give another. And so when you find a little morsel of it, you keep it, right? You hold on to it until you can get you some more. And hopefully you get to surround yourself around a bunch of people that are full of inspiration and that can really get you going. But success is just momentum over time. I don't care what it is, where you come from, right? And as long as you can keep your momentum and give it some time, the rest will work itself out. But you got to give yourself some time, and you got to keep the momentum going.
That's powerful. So having that fortitude to fight, to push through, and to break through those tough moments and continue that journey. Obviously, you're in high school, you're going beyond. Dating is something that usually, for the man them, that is a place where we, get to engage with the opposite sex. So I wanted to know, like, what was your dating history like? Because obviously we see you on a dating show. So what was David's dating history like? What was it like for you, sir?
As an adult, I've been married, obviously, and after my son graduated high school, then filed, right? And he and I are still great friends. We're even closer today. Um, but other than that, I've had some long-term relationships. Try to be good to people. Hope that you're compatible and the way they reciprocate love is equitable and receptive. But I haven't had a whole lot of drama in my relationships. I don't have children from different people. Pretty. I like. If anything, I'll tell you. I think over time I've been able to try to crystallize what it is that I want or give, and I think that's to reciprocate incredible. And so I try to be incredible for someone else, and I'd like for them to be incredible for me. And hopefully we can create a virtuous cycle instead of a vicious cycle.
Now, you are obviously, like I said, previously married. What were some of the lessons you learned from that divorce that you had? What were the lessons that you came out from that divorce?
It's probably that communication is key. You have to be able to communicate. Both people have to be able to communicate. You got to work on that. Never give up on trying to communicate better. You can always do better. Other lessons, love is great, but I think for long-term relationships, in order for them to last, love is not enough. I think you have to work on growing together. And if you can grow together, then you don't stretch the love as much to stay together. And if you can grow together, then you can enjoy the love instead of just using the love to keep you guys together. That's probably a couple good lessons that I learned from that.
So someone might ask, David, why are you single? You're a handsome man. You make good money. You seem smart. You seem intelligent. You're black. What else is there needed? You got superpowers. Smooth. They might ask David, why is David single? You know? David,
Yeah.
why are you, or why were, well, before, I don't know, you might not be single now. Why were you single before you went on the show?
I would say there's maybe a couple things. One, I think we all have to be mindful of the world that we live in. It is very different than the world it once was or used to be. And times change a lot faster now. So, before, what was dating might have been, a guy's going to iron his shirt and pants and he's got to go out and talk to this, lady or girl and get her phone number. Might have to talk to her parents or something if you want to take her out or get serious. Time changed after that to, you probably got to be a little smoother with your words and talk to her. She's going to be a little bit more independent, et cetera, et cetera. Times today is a lot different than what that used to be, post-internet and social media. I can go on your IG and see everything I want to see about who you are and who you show to the world. And then you can see the same for me. And from that, we then interact on different things, right? Folks don't even ask for phone numbers. It's like, what's your IG, right? Or what's your TikTok? And so I think a lot of those things have changed, and what people are looking for in relationships and how they look for it has changed. The other thing I would say is, look, I believe in reciprocating incredible. And if I could put a third word on it, I'd say reciprocate incredible only. And so that's like, let's take Shaq and Kobe, right? Kobe wanted to practice every day. Shaq was like, nah, and Shaq was like the greatest big man ever. Okay, if we look at that, we'll say, some people want to continue to work on themselves from a relationship perspective and get better and better and better and be a better person to that other, to who they're in a relationship with every single day and get better and better and better so that things continue to grow in a positive way. Some people get into a relationship and say, I'm Shaq. I'm as good as it gets. There's nothing else to change here. It could be true. Both could be true. I just think that it requires the compatibility and making sure that you're matched with somebody that works with. I'm probably on the Kobe Bryant side, where I think that every day we can do things to enhance the relationship. We can do things to make life more fun and better for each other. And, everybody doesn't prescribe to that. Once you find someone that does, then maybe you got a match.
The Mamba mentality. I like that. The Mamba mentality. Now, someone might say, in fact, someone did say, Lisa Ray said, that she was about to let you go because you were so smooth. Yeah, that's what she said. And I can't lie. I actually see what she's saying, brother. I can't find fault with you. And I think sometimes that be a little bit like, So before Lisa Ray said it, have you ever heard a woman say that to you? Like, you know what, brother David, you are a bit too smooth.
No, I've never heard anybody say that. Look, and I'm not perfect, man. Look, I'm not perfect. I make mistakes. I read situations wrong. I may say something that doesn't come across right. So, I try to apologize, and, I'm not too stuck on myself where I can't admit that I've made a mistake or done something wrong. Man, it is what it is with me. What you see is what you get. And so same goes with Lisa Ray. She was talking about, she was going to let me go. I was so smooth or whatever. But it wound up being in the conversation that, that was something that she actually found value in. And so, it don't take a whole day to recognize sunshine, but you might want to take a minute to open a book and read it before you judge it. Right. So it is what it is, man.
I get you. So if we were to ring up your exes, what would be 4 words they would describe David as?
Bring up my exes. Wow. I don't know. Um, no, look, get a conference call or something. I don't know. But what would be 4 words they would describe? Provider, responsible, thoughtful, tries hard. I don't know. Everyone's not going to get along forever, right? We may get along for a season, and then that's it. And after that season, it may not be the same. It may not feel the same. And just because it doesn't mean that I should throw shots or you should throw shots at me. I've had exes that broke up with me, right? Left me for somebody else or whatever. I've been through it all. Those things happen in life, to the biggest, best, richest of us and all. So, no shame. It is what it is. If, the best part about life is that it goes on. Hopefully we all learn a lesson from whatever it is we went through, and we move forward a little bit wiser, make better decisions.
Okay, I hear you.
Yeah.
So what took you on to, obviously, Queen's Court, Bravo? Because, like I said, sir, you don't look like you're struggling. I'm not going to lie to you. You don't. David, you don't look like you're struggling.
So Will Packard and Peacock may have a problem just saying Bravo, so I'm going to throw Peacock in there too. But what got me to go on the show, they reached out to me. They slid in my DMs, hit me up. I thought it was a joke. I don't check my DMs that much anyhow, or I'm not that consistent. And so when I saw it, I thought it was a joke, and I just passed on it. They hit me up again. And so I decided to entertain it. And when we got on the call, Zoom call, I saw the staff and producers, and they were talking very serious. I still was undecided and probably, closer to filming. I finally decided, okay, I'll go ahead and get this thing a shot. And if you ask what was the deciding factor, I would say, if you don't take a chance, you don't have a chance.
Okay, then. What were your expectations? Going on to a show like, because it's reality TV. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, man.
What was your expectation?
Oh,
had you watched season 1?
Rough. A smidgen of season 1. But at that time, I've seen it now, of course. But at that time, I had only saw a part of an episode, and so I'm not big on reality TV or dating shows myself. I think my expectations at the time, I was like, okay, I really don't want to be in anything where like guys are acting weird over a date. And so I was like, I'm praying that that's not the scenario here. That's not the group of guys I'll be with. I was a little concerned about, how is it all going to turn out? Because you never know in editing what they keep, what they don't keep, what, looks like one thing for another. And as far as like who the celebrities were or who the ladies were, I didn't know, but, the casting crew just kept saying stuff like, we have a really nice lineup. You're going to be so excited when you see who's going to be there. And, they did a great job of selling it. I give them all the credit. They did. They did a great job. And they delivered. They didn't disappoint.
Absolutely. Very, very great lineup. I can't lie.
Right after Lighthearted.
Very beautiful. Very, very beautiful. So you're right about that. Now, obviously, you obviously didn't know when you were going to show who the people were, I'm guessing. You didn't know who the ladies were going to be. So this is a surprise for you.
Not until they revealed themselves.
Oh, wow. So, did you know of Lisa Ray? I know, but there's levels. Like Charles level is Charles level. You know what I'm saying to you? Like Charles level is fan level. So between yourself and Charles level, how much did you know about Lisa Ray?
Lisa Ray is an icon, so I'm pretty familiar with her body of work. some of her earlier stuff, and then like All of Us, or some of the shows she had that ran for years in different movies. So I'm very familiar with who Lisa Ray is. Yeah. K Michelle, fan of her music, love it, and know who London Charles is as well.
So when you first saw the that they revealed the ladies, am I allowed to be cheeky? Am I allowed to be cheeky?
Go ahead, man.
I know you ended up with Lisa Ray,
Hmm.
but there were two other fine arts. Like, Holy Spirit, I'm changed. I'm changed now, Lord. I'm changed, Lord. There were two other beautiful, demure, classy, wonderful,
Demore.
excellent, exquisite ladies also there as well. When you first saw the ladies all three line up, who first caught your eye? You can say
Oh
no
my
comment.
God. He's trying to start a fight. Right. Plead the fifth. Plead the fifth.
Who the fifth?
Look, all three of the ladies, gorgeous. I think Lisa Ray probably caught my eye just because we had danced before the
Yes.
reveal. So they had her
Yes.
totally revealed and we danced. And then all of us danced, but there was some conversation Lisa Ray and I had going on during the dance. And so when it revealed, I was looking at her like, okay, well, who is this? And I was like, oh, okay. And then, yeah, K Michelle and London, gorgeous, gorgeous women, beautiful. And the dresses, just everything. It's just, all three of them are very stunning women. They would certainly put a man or a group of men on their heels, certainly.
And since they were putting people on their heels, how much was the inches of the heels that you were wearing when you met them? Because clearly they put a man on the heels, so did they put pressure on you? Did you feel nervous?
No, no heels with me. No, I'm 6'2". I'm good. Yeah, yeah. I stand flat footed. Yeah, it's all good. Yeah, no heels.
Were you a
No
little bit
extra.
nervous?
Nothing against.
when you
Nothing
when you met the
against.
ladies?
Was I who?
A little bit nervous when you met the ladies? Was there a little bit of apprehension when you met the ladies? Because these are women of renown. This is not just ladies; they're women of
You know
renown.
what? You know what? It wasn't nervousness or apprehension, but I'll tell you what was going on
Mm.
through that whole process is, as a guy, they would set one guy with each of the ladies. So there's three guys with the ladies when they would say action. 3 minutes into that, they're going to send three more guys to interrupt those three guys.
Oh,
And 3 more minutes in it, I mean, it's not time, but 2 to 4 minutes,
yeah.
they're going to send another group of guys to go interrupt those guys. And so there is the conflict of interrupting someone or being interrupted by another man. And then there's, what are you going to say to her?
Mm.
Right. And you only have 3 minutes to make it happen.
Yeah.
So, if there was any weirdness, it was that, because that isn't normal, right? That's not how normally a guy might approach a woman.
Mm.
It just depends. I mean, you might go, push some cat off so you could talk to her, but usually that's not the case.
So obviously you had 3 minutes to kind of say what you got to say. So which AI program did you use to make sure that your script was good, so that when you talk to ladies, you knew what to say to Lisa Ray? Which one did you use? So I just know. Just asking for a friend.
Oh, yeah. I did use an AI program. It's called Already Implemented. Yeah, I did. Yeah, exactly. Frontal lobe, back lobe. Nah, man, you just got to get to it. And so that's when personality and charisma and charm, chivalry, right? That's when all those things come out. And so, my mom is a lady. She raised me to be a gentleman. My sister is a lady. I had a lot of practice being around ladies. And, in the dating world, especially as when you start off that short, you got to get your conversation together, man, And so, no, I wasn't too nervous. I think maybe in the first interaction with her, because I had to, move a guy out of the way to start the conversation. But other than that, nah, it was all good.
Mm. Okay. So obviously got to move some guys out the way, get the conversation going. You and Lisa Ray kind of kicked off. I wouldn't say fairly early in the process, but at the beginning, a little bit, little bit of a rocky start because she was apprehensive about the fact that Brother Smooth was in the building. You know what I'm saying to you? And
Uh,
Booker had a bit of a head start on you. You know what I'm saying to
You
you?
know, listen, I'll shout out to
Yeah.
Booker, man. But I'll say this, even the way you see it. So like, I'll give you a little bit of tea on something. So like,
Okay. Come on.
there was there was one scene, and I think this is already played out in the season, where I'm in a lounge talking to her, and in that scene, before that starts, I tell them, I say, hey, look, I have to go out of town tomorrow. And they were like, you can't do that. I was like, yeah, I totally understand that, but I have to go out of town tomorrow. And so they talked it over and said, all right, well, you can go out of town, but if you go out of town tomorrow, that means today, tonight, you can't ask her for a date. And you got to go talk to her. And so again, right, they're going to incite a little bit of conflict. So it was somebody else talking to her, and they send me to go talk to her, and move him out of the way. That went on a couple of times, and he didn't leave. And so the third time, he did leave. And at that point is when I sat down with her, and so we started talking. And I'm like, I got to talk to her, but she can't like me. I can't ask her for a date. I can't get her to ask me for a date. But they want me to have this conversation. So I started saying a poem to her. And I was trying to say the poem and not say it too smooth, and I wound up messing up the poem. And so, but I know the poem backwards and forwards, and so it's like that was one kind of deal that I wish I had back, where I could just like rattle that poem off to her because it was such a smooth poem. But I kind of stutter stepped it because I was trying to like thread this needle of talk to her, but she don't like you. You got to have a conversation, but you can't ask for a date. So that was like one of the weird things that happened.
That is a bit weird. How did you handle jealousy in because obviously you guys get to move in later on, but how did you handle jealousy when you're watching Booker, get time with her, spending time with her, and he's got his arm around her, or they're giggling and they're laughing. How did you handle jealousy, David?
So yeah, that's a great question. So for me, when I think about that, let's put some things in perspective. We're dating. I can't even say dating. We're getting to know each other. She doesn't belong to me. I'm just getting to know her, right? I just happen to be in close proximity to be able to witness somebody else getting to know her. But in the real world, humans are humans. Anyone at any point in time can try to get to know someone, right? And if she and I are not in an exclusive relationship, others can get to know her too. And so I really kind of tempered that and put that in perspective. I think a lot of times we move way too fast in relationships and dating, right? The first question is, does this person like me? And do I like them? The next question is, do I like how they treat me? Do they like how I treat them? Then we can get to, what do we call this? But I think jealousy and all that doesn't belong way up front. You're just exploring. You're getting to know somebody. Take your foot off the gas. Save some for dessert. Don't rush. Relax. Red pill, blue pill. Take a chill pill. That's probably where I was at. And then if there's anything else, I'd say, look, man, I'm allergic to negativity. I don't want to talk bad about somebody. I don't want to, have those types of emotions. The best I can do is the best I can do. Whether I don't care who the woman is, Lisa Ray or any other woman, she's going to choose whether or not she is interested. There's nothing I can do to make her less interested in any other person in the world. All I can do is the best I can do. And so I think if we have that perspective, then the rest of it shouldn't get too negative, jealous, envious, that kind of stuff.
Were you always this way? Chill, reserved, unfazed?
I don't know if I was always so reserved, but I do like my chances. At any point, I think I have a great chance to win. So If we're down by one and there's 2 seconds left, and we have the ball, I think we're going to win the game. I don't think we're about to lose. I think we're about to do something great and win the game. So in whatever dating scenario that, the show put us in, I always like my chances. I don't care what's going on. You say what you want to say, do what you want to do. I still like my chances.
How did you analyze your competition? Because Booker was your competition. It was a very fierce one. Zeus really summed up beautifully. He said, "I wouldn't want to compete against you too." How did you how did you analyze your competition? Because it is a competition, nonetheless.
It is a competition to a degree, but I did not really analyze my competition. I did not analyze Booker or the other guys. That was zero analyzation on anything they were doing. Zero. No, wait. There was one thing, and it wasn't Booker, but there was one thing I did analyze, which was I saw guys giving gifts to the queens, to the ladies, and I thought to myself, I don't know what these ladies actually like as a gift. And so I'm not going to offer anyone any gift. I don't even know what you like yet. Do you like experience gifts, or do you like things? Do you like things that you smell or things that you wear? Are you conscious of all the senses and those types of things, or is there a specific type of gift that you like? I was thinking about those kinds of things before I was, thinking about trying to buy a gift. And so I saw people doing that, and I was like, well, that part I'm not going to do. Other than that, I didn't care what the competition did or what the other guys did. They could have done anything in the absolute world they wanted to do. It would have made no change in how I was going to speak to or behave or any of that stuff. And I think that's the part about dating that, maybe we don't talk about or miss is it's not about what somebody else does, right? It's about what you do. And does that person like your flavor? If you try to be me and I try to be you, we're not being ourselves. No one can be you better than you. No one can be me better than me. That's the best chance we got. That's the best chance we have to bloom and people smell, feel our aura, flavor, whatever you want to call it. That's the best chance we got to do that. Is you really focus on you, me really focus on me, and be the best you and me we can be, and see where it all lands, see where that takes us. That's the best chance you got. You got to believe in yourself,
Oh, sorry. Go for it.
No, I think you got to believe in yourself. Look, it's a long way to the top. It ain't high in the air. It's deep in your heart. You got to find it somewhere. So you really got to believe in yourself.
Booker had a moment where his self-belief was shaky. But I want to know, when did you also have a shaky moment in your belief that, it might not be you? When was a moment for you in the actual season for you?
If I'm completely transparent, never. No. Anything could have happened, and she could have said, you're not my king on, whatever day. And that would have been that. But in my mind, no, I didn't think any of those things. And I think that's part of the problem, man. If you're going to shoot yourself in the foot, give me the gun, right? If you have those negative thoughts, it's going to bring negative things to it. So why are you here thinking negative, right? You might as well just send yourself home. Right.
Okay.
And also being transparent, I don't think any woman wants a guy who thinks negative about himself, who's like shooting himself in the foot. I think every woman who wants a man wants a guy who's like, we're going to get through this. It's you and I against the world, and we're going to be okay, right? That's that protector or provider component that they're looking for. And it's not that being a provider or protector is not always showing that you have a bunch of punctuation marks in your bank account. Being a protector and a provider means that you have the confidence, you have the wherewithal, you have the knowledge and the wisdom that no matter what happens, we're going to be okay. I got you.
I cannot argue that at all. Confidence is sexy, they say. So I'm not going to argue that at all. Now, the boys obviously were, just a little bit, just a little hating. Nothing too crazy at one point. Just a little bit. You saved, obviously, Lisa Raye from, hitting a tree. You used the old school technique of saving the girl from danger and took advantage of that moment and lay lips on her. Talk me through that moment, because you were hugging on her. You nozzled your nose into her neck a little bit. She was excited about how you were up close and personal, and then she almost hits a tree, almost takes you both out. You know what I'm saying to you? But you managed to save her, which you saved her pretty face, as she said, from the branches of hell. And at the end of it, you managed to get a lovely little kiss, which I think actually started the downfall of Booker. No offense, but I want to know. Talk us through that moment, bro, because that was a smooth moment, bro. That was like, when you're a young kid and you also just say, I can't wait to save the girl and she'll kiss me. That's what you had right there. So talk to me through that moment.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So first, shout out to Booker. You rough. But that moment. So, man, look, there was a lot to it. So first, the night before, we went out. A handful of guys, we went out because it was one guy's birthday, and so we celebrated. So the next day, when we're, when they, starting to film, I was like, hey, today's somebody's birthday, and so Lisa Raye was like, okay, well, you're gonna ride first. Cool. When she said that, I was like, okay, I'm gonna ride last. Everybody can do what they'll do. I'm gonna take the last spot, because I knew some folks wanted to go earlier, as quick as they could. So I instantly said, I'm going last. That let everybody go do their thing. And then when it came my time, it was like, okay, I'm the guy that's been patient, not trying to, push up on her too much. When I sit down with her, the whole exercise was around, as a guy, can I allow her to be in control, right? And so I was holding her, sitting on the back of the ATV, and I was in her ear telling her that, she could do it. You got it. You're Wonder Woman. Nobody can stop you. Let's do this, and we're going to have some fun. And, don't feel like you got to hold back. So I was like saying some encouraging words to her. And she hit it. And we missed a turn and went into some bushes. And I cut my hand up a little bit. But it was, it was what it was. The guys came right after us, like, oh my God, what you doing? You about to hurt the queen and all this other stuff. And so they gave me a hard time. It was cool. But as I was breaking the branches, they pulled us out of the ditch we kind of went into, and we took off. And while we took off, she and I started talking again. And she was like, is there anything on my lips? Not yet. And scene.
Probably like an action movie hero. Drop the lips on that lady. Man, she appreciated the vibes and the moment. I think one thing I clocked about you is you read the moment very well. You read a moment very, very well. I think that's what gave you the edge over your competitor, Booker. I know I keep saying that, but I think you read a moment very, very well. It's not to say that Booker was even a bad competitor. It's simply the fact that your sharpness in the area of reading a moment well and taking advantage of that moment and knowing what that moment was. Because we saw on the show how Zach missed a moment with Delish. We saw how Dr. Elam went a bit too far with the moment, what I'm saying to you. So just getting the right amount of that moment and being able to know, because it wasn't like it was a long ass kiss. From what we saw, it looked like a nice little kiss. It didn't seem too long, but maybe it was a bit longer than editing. Was it longer than longer than that? What we saw in editing?
No snitching. No snitching. I know, right?
I respect it.
I know.
It was the right amount for what we saw, the editing. So the editing did you a favor, but it was the right amount. Whatever it was the right amount for that particular moment. Because clearly, at that moment she then held your hand. She was standing in front of the guys. She took you on another, elsewhere after as well. So you guys really, it was, we started seeing not just the emotional connection now. We started seeing that physical connection too begin to grow and beginning to foster. What was that like for you then? Because, I think from that perspective, you guys don't have the power per se. One might think you don't have the power, but you can only progress so much, right? Which is slightly different in the real world, right? But in this instance, the ladies have quote unquote the power. What was that like for you then, kind of being behind quote unquote the 8 ball and having to kind of move at Lisa Ray's pace, in that sense? You know what I'm saying? I think I know what your real answer is, but give us the other answer so we can all stay safe.
Look, you know what? So to that point, right? There's a lot that goes into that. And so, you're saying moving at Lisa Ray's pace versus a different pace. I think the only pace for a man to move at is the pace that the woman wants to move. Anything faster than that is aggressive.
Okay.
Right? I think if a woman wants to move at whatever speed, or whoever you're dating with, they're going to cue you and clue you into that. And if you're reading a room, you're going to pick up what they're putting down, and that's called compatibility and chemistry. So it wasn't so much a deal about that because, look, as much as, Lisa Ray is stunning. Absolutely stunning. And as mesmerizing as that is, as exciteful as that is, right? I'm also like, well, what are we talking about here? Are we talking about dating? Or are we talking about relationships? Are we talking about reciprocity? Or are we talking about hanging out? Like, what are we talking about? Help me understand what speed we're on, and we can get, we can see if we match. But I'm not trying to press the limit to see how many bases I can get past in one day.
Yeah.
Right? I'm not playing it like that. Like, how far can I go in one interaction or a series of interactions? How far can I get? I'm more like, what are we doing? What are we talking about? Like, are you feeling me? Are you sure? Can you fully appreciate me? Right? Yes or no? And do I fully appreciate you? Do I understand what it all goes into being who you are? And after we figure that part out, the next question is do I do the things that make you happy, make you smile? And do you do the things that make me happy and make me smile? Right? And if so, then we can look at the next phase, whether or not we're exclusively dating or in a relationship, or what do we call this thing that we're in, right? But first, we got to get past some of these things. And so, it wasn't, a competition into how much physicality I could go get out of somebody. It was a process of getting to know somebody, and who are you and who am I, and does this make sense together?
I love that. Solid answer. So obviously, when then you saw Booker snatch the ring, the golden coin out of Lisa. I don't know if you actually saw it, but you probably might have heard it later on. He snatched the coin right out of her hand, and she was like, "That's what I wanted to see." She was like, "Yeah, that's what I want to see. I want to see a man that's going to be assertive." You know what I'm saying to you?
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, you didn't know that they were going to invite other people after. You just knew that obviously the gold coin meant person will come to the house. So, how did you feel about that moment when Booker obviously snatches the gold coin? I don't know how you would have heard about it later on, but what was that moment for you like? Because you were all competing, just trying to get into the house. That was a big moment.
Yeah, man. That was good for Booker. He got the coin. He definitely let us know about it. It was all good. And I didn't feel some kind of way that I did not get the coin. Like, again, things don't happen to you. They happen for you. And so I think me not getting that coin meant I went to like another dinner or something. And at that dinner, there was a lot more said. And so, I think it just it all worked out perfectly. It was like me not getting that coin set up another interaction where she could see another glimpse of who I am. And so that deepened it even more. And so with or without the coin, I'm still going to be me. And, if you pass on that, okay, all good.
So no pressure at all. Just cool, calm,
Oh
collected.
no. Yeah, I even told her like no pressure. Like, look, man, I'm not putting pressure on this. I'm gonna be me. I'm gonna let you know who I am and how I function and etc. And you be you.
Mm.
And if we're gonna date, relate, talk as friends, whatever, in any of those facets, I don't want any pressure. So I'm not about to put that on you right now anyhow. Make your decision, be cool with it. I'm cool with it. Let's see where it goes. And so it was totally her decision. And now, mind you, she was going through a lot at the time, right? But I didn't want to try to add to that. That would be the worst thing to do. Somebody just lost somebody close to them, that now they're in the middle of a dating situation, and that what they need is an extra lump of pressure. Yes, that's exactly what the doctor worked. No, no.
That's fair. I get that. So run me through the play, how because they edited in a way that you guys' conversation before Booker's thing was that you said this and you want the coin. You know what I'm saying to you, and then you said no pressure. So run me through that play. What happened in that play? Because I ain't gonna lie to you. I thought you kind of slightly blew it, but you regained it
You
quickly.
think I blew
But
it? Oh my God.
no, it looked like you were about to blow it, but you brought it back in again because you went down the path and then she said something and you kind of brought it back. You know what I'm saying to you? Because you said in that moment, hey, look, hey, you want that coin, and then she
Yeah.
was that pressure, and you was like, okay, no, I'm not trying to pressure you. So run me through that. What was going through your head at that moment? Because I ain't gonna lie
Yeah.
to you, I thought you blew it.
Yeah. So I mean, look, man. Like I said, you only have a few minutes and you got to seal the deal. And so when Booker
Yeah.
stepped to me, I politely asked him to give me another moment, right? And
Mm.
so,
I love this
so
how
if
you said
anything,
politely.
that might have caused a little pressure on him because his clock is ticking, right? He's like, man, how much time you gonna spend? And so, and then the conversation I had with Lisa Ray, um, I was asking about the coin, but not trying to put too much pressure on it. And it is what it is. Either you want to give me that coin or you don't. You want to play cat and mouse a little bit more, that's cool. In relationships, I think we need to remember that there is a bit of a chase, a little bit, not a whole lot, but there is a little bit of a chase, and both sides enjoy the chase a little bit. And so her being cheeky, tongue in cheek, I know you want this coin, but I'm not going to give it to you just yet. How bad do you want it? All of that kind of stuff. Like, it's cool. It's cool. I'm confident. I'm still me, with or without the coin. I'll be okay.
Mm. Okay, no, I'm with you. Now there was a moment, I think it was episode 7, where you guys had a conversation, and she really opened up to you, and she ended up resting her head on your shoulder, and you kind of told her like, you know what, she's built for this, facing the trials and tribulations that she's been through. This I think this is the moment where she met your friend actually, which was a really emotional moment actually. I can't lie to you, a big man like me cried. Can't lie to you. I saw the tears in his eyes. I saw the tears in your eyes. I saw Lisa Ray crying, and I got emotional. I won't even lie to you because it was a moving moment. I love to hear that that your friend saw you as such a pillar and a backbone to his upbringing life, and that you were there for him in a critical moment. So I think that was such a powerful um, showcasing not of just your life, but of the fact that there are good black men out there. Sometimes we got on these shows and we do get a really bad rep. You know what I'm saying? Because there are some bad black men out there, but these shows tend to choose some bad ones. You know what I mean? As well, to further hype that. So it
Right.
was great to see you in such a positive light. And I think I saw Lisa moved by that as well. So tell us about that moment when Lisa met your friend. Almost like your brother, even almost as you've been really saying, it's almost like a brother to you. So, tell us a bit more about that scene there, because it was a moving scene.
Sure. And so I don't want to ruin your chances for an interview with her because she goes by Lisa Reyes, so I wouldn't call her Lisa. But
Thank you.
um, yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And so that scene was it was great. My brother came in, we got to talk, and um, he was sharing with her what we have been for each other, and um, it wasn't always easy. He nor I were always the favorites. Like I say, in high school, you wouldn't have picked me to be the VP of hyper automation and winning these Engineer of the Year awards and all that stuff. Um, and so, coming from that, right, really having to make a dollar out of 15 cents, having to mix and match clothes to go to school, um, selling candy to buy lunch. Um, there's a lot of things, a lot of tribulations, a lot of trials that we came through. And he was sharing just a little bit of that with her. And it was just like, it was the kind of moment of like, you know what, man, it's just, this is very nice. This scene, this setting, all of this, the location, all these people around is really cool. But this isn't how it started. And, um, you know, I wasn't always the favorite. And I'm not disconnected from that. Things are cool now, but it wasn't always that way. And I had nappy hair as a kid. You know what I'm saying? So it wasn't, I wasn't always looked at as anything. And Lisa Ray really appreciated that. She saw how my brother was just there for me, and in a very genuine way, and how healthy that was to have a relationship like that. And she just admired it. And yeah, all three of us started to shed a tear. So it was a very vulnerable moment, a very special moment. Um, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it was definitely deep. And do you feel like that moment also maybe brought you and Lisa Ray closer?
Yeah, I think that all of our moments, success is momentum over time. And I think each moment built momentum. And I don't know if there was one thing that did it more than others, because when you know, her family came to visit,
Mm,
that was a big moment when we talked
that was
about
a big
mental
moment.
health and how all that went. When my family came to visit, there was tears. That was a big moment. Um, the ATV was a big moment. Um, and there were other things that were cut out of the editing that was cut out, where we had really um, deep conversations, personal moments that we shared, um, heartache, heartbreak, all those things, and how we dealt with it and got over it. And so there was a lot of different moments where I think our connection built upon each other, each interaction building on each other. And that's what drew us closer together. Lisa Ray is a very complete woman. She's not going to be mesmerized by one thing. You're probably not going to move her too much by just one thing. She's going to spend a little time to figure it all out.
I hear that. So then, you and Lisa Ray are getting closer. We're seeing the physicality. You know what I'm saying? To Paul Booker is doing the windmill as he's running down the stretch. He's finding himself kind of losing some distance on you. He's realizing, and everyone else is realizing, just how Speedy Gonzalez you've become, David. You are from the back of the pack, okay, and you've come right through to the front. You're leading the chase, and you are at the pinnacle of the head of people, right? The competition. And so it gets to a place where you guys actually go to counseling. And this is also another deep moment too, right? Because you guys get to share some intimate thoughts, which you had been doing anyway, right? You had done some, while you guys were sitting down and you were, talking, and, she shared some things with you, and shared some things with her as well. But this was another intimate moment. Yourself, the counselor, Lisa Ray, and you were sharing about your mum and dancing. tell us more about that story, because obviously that story did trigger her to also then kind of have a moment where she remembered her mother. Tell me a little bit more about that moment for you, from your perspective, in terms of your own situation, when you mentioned about you dancing in the living room with your mother as well.
Oh yeah, man. So my mom would play the classics. I mean, Louis Armstrong, Frank Sinatra. I love My Way. Um, she would play the classics, and we would dance in the kitchen. And I was just a little bitty old thing, little kid. And um, and my mom is my inspiration, man. She is everything. My first words were hair and nails. I used to play in her hair and look at her nails all the time. And those moments were just priceless. I mean, no amount of money can go get a moment like that. It's just priceless. And I started to share that in counseling, and I really feel bad about it because I wasn't thinking about the fact that she had just recently lost her mother. And so when I brought that up, I'm like all gleeful, like, yeah. And so, I love, a perfect date. Oh, I don't know, probably in the kitchen dancing and this, that. And then I'm like, oh my God, now she's crying. And I just caused it. So I quickly got up to go get some tissue to try to dry her eye. But I think her being able to get those things out is needed. We all need a chance to get, some of those things out, to fully feel those emotions and be okay feeling them. And then let those emotions settle in the right places, knowing that the person is gone. Those are still great moments, great memories. And at any point, those memories may come back and we may have a smile or a cry. But as long as we've been able to deal with it in a healthy way, then we can have that laugh, we can have that cry, and let that memory fall right back in its place again and go on and still have a healthy life. And so that was kind of the whole, I think, some of the dynamic that was happening there. And she and I were just caught up in the middle of it on camera.
What was it like for you in that session? Because obviously you've been to counseling before, you've been some therapy before, but now you're in a coaching session, counseling session with a woman who you are dating and you are trying to get to know, and you're trying to ascertain her love, attain her love, as well. So, that's a different kind of coaching, counseling, therapy session. What was that overall session like? So I know obviously that you had that moment, and I saw how you beautifully recovered that scenario, that situation when she was crying. You uplifted her spirits with a little bit of patsy, as I call it, as well. So, but what was that whole coaching session like for you?
Yeah, man, it was intense, and the therapist, she was for real. Like, she was not for play. Yeah, she was like, this is not TV, not this part. And so she dug in and asked a lot of questions and just wanted to kind of understand who we are, and what makes us who we are, and the things that are important to us. And so it was intense, man. Like, she was really trying to understand, like, okay, I understand, I've known some things about you, David. I've heard your father passing away, and you have a strong love for your sister, your mom, and tell me about some of these things. And so she was like peeling the layers back. Same with Lisa Ray. She was asking questions, and then, you guys see what made the final cut, which was the dancing in the kitchen, and playing patty cake. And then I think they asked me about what kind of dates I would want to have with Lisa Ray, and just so happened I had planned one, and so that's what happened.
That was a dirty trick that you pulled. That was a dangerous game. I saw you the date.
That was the who game?
That was a dangerous game right there. Dark arts. You pulled that one right out.
Oh my!
Before we got to that moment, what did you discover about yourself in that coaching session? What did the coach therapist reveal about you, David?
Well, the therapist called her Lisa, and I corrected the therapist, and she was like, "Oh, I actually like that. Thank you." The therapist said that, like, "Oh, I see how you're stepping in," and so she liked that. She had all positive feedback for me. I was grateful. I don't think all the sessions went that way, but she was happy. I mean, she was, kind to me. She shared that that we should go out and experience a date and try to get in touch with all five of our senses.
Mm.
And so just so happened there was music for sound and flowers for smell and a view for sight and
champagne for taste.
Champagne for taste and nice comfy blankets for a touch. So as well as a little buku. So it was cool, man.
So who planned? Was the idea to plan this date? Was it your idea, or was it the production's idea to plan this date, David?
Look.
Who planned this date?
Look, man. I told you. Listen, I told you. Tell the truth, shame the devil. Listen. If I tell you an ant can cow rope a board, don't ask no questions, just grab the rope and pull. That was me, man. Come on. That was me. Yeah, all that.
Okay.
That was her favorite flowers. That was, it was all of that. Yeah.
What are her favorite flowers again?
Casablanca lilies.
That's right. Just have to make sure, because I wrote it down just to make sure you knew what it was.
It's a test too? Okay.
I was testing you, just making sure, you know what I mean? Because you're too smooth.
All right.
Let's go make sure, you know what I'm saying, that you still remember now, you know what I mean?
Okay, so let's wind it back. Okay, so through the conversation, I'm listening. She says her favorite song is Lovely Day. She says her favorite flowers, Casablanca lilies. Okay, so the harp is played Lovely Day. The flowers are Casablanca lilies. A lot of times just paying attention, listening, right? 2 ears, 1 mouth. It works. And so, that was the only time I think I gifted something during the show. And it worked out, versus trying to gift all along through the season. So,
how did Booker take that? Because that was a heavy.
You know what? Okay, so look, what Booker said to me was this. He was like, "Yo, that was nice. That was some fly shit." That was actually what he said, his exact words. And so, the cameras were trying to catch a little bit, of what was going on, but. Like I say, man, me and Booker and I are really cool. We're really cool. It's good. It's good.
I hear you. No, it's interesting because there was a moment which I wish I took
It was a moment, and I think there was a lot to be done to show how it was playing out, and so Zeus on the balcony with Booker, and Zeus like, man, he got the lady from Titanic, and he own him right now. You know what I'm saying? He just own him. And so, Booker, he a cool dude too, and so he like, okay, whatever, So it was fun, man. It was really fun. Yeah.
I love that. Now we always got the last few minutes.
The same thing to me. Booker took her out in a boat, and so they walked Booker right past me, Booker and
I saw that when she had a little date with him and you were fishing and stuff, whatever.
Yeah, and so she was like, "I'll be back," or something. I was like, "I know, like it's cool.
I know, yeah.
Go have fun, yeah. Go do your thing."
Right. Yeah, he was wearing a nice little red sweater. You were. I said he's on one of these bright colors again. I was like, all right, go on, David.
Yeah, man. Hey. It is what it is, man. I mean, I think you have to be yourself, right? Put your best foot forward, man. If somebody else do the same, like I say, 1 and 1 is 11. You just got to put them close enough together. You can do some exponential things. And so I think that's, if anything, that might have been what, how it came out for me, is that I'm just trying to put my best foot forward. And I think Lisa Raye is the kind of person who always puts her best foot forward. So let's see if it works.
I like that. Now we've got the last 5 minutes or so. I've got a few questions I want to ask real quickly of you.
Okay.
Now, I'm going to be cheeky again. There's an episode 9. Okay, because obviously all the episodes are dropped now. So episode 9.
Okay.
There's a moment. I wish I took a little clip so you could have seen it. There's a moment where you guys are sitting on the couch, and you're talking to her. And what I observed, I think this is the first time I saw Lisa Ray on the back foot. What I mean by that is, it was almost, when I was watching it almost looked as if she was looking at you going, who is he? Trying to figure out, almost like she felt like, you know what? You ever feel like sometimes someone's going almost too good and you're almost a little bit scared that it's going too good? You know what I'm saying? She's almost going a bit too good. That's what it looked like in that moment. She was like this at this point. She was looking and she was like this. And she looked like that. And I said, it almost looked like she was looking as if it was almost too good. Was it almost too good to be true? Did you feel like it was almost too good to be true, the way that you guys connected?
It's something, man. I don't know. I mean, I'll tell you, it's like too good to be true. I don't know if I believe in that.
Okay.
But it was really easy, really frictionless. Like, if you think I'm quick with words, she is as quick or quicker. And so, as much as I can say those things or, have conversation for her, she has that amount of conversation for me. And, it's really cool to kind of watch it, because it's like a conversation dance where, we're not trying to impress each other, but it's just going. And it's like, oh, wow. It's like watching, Shaq and Kobe play, you know what I'm saying? Or, I don't know, Steph and Clay play, it's just back and forth, like, wow. And so she is really, really, she's a very intelligent woman and very quick with her words. And so she's pretty smooth herself. And so we just had fun with it, man. I wasn't, nervous about those kind of things. It was just the kind of thing that I would say, if you're going to do something like that, man, you really want to put your best foot forward. So, don't hold back.
Now, Booker obviously, said some words towards the end of episode 9 where he was talking about, he was insinuating that, David, you were playing a game. David, your competitor insinuated that you were playing a game, David. I got to ask 2 questions. 1, were you playing a game? Number 2, how did you feel about the fact that you were insinuated that you were playing a game, David?
Yeah, I was not playing a game. Now, I was having fun for sure. Absolutely having fun. But no, I wasn't playing the game. How do I feel about it? Man, I think he was just expressing his frustration at the time of how things were going on. And maybe not even frustration, just kind of talking it out, debriefing. How other people feel about me is not my business. It might be my responsibility in some ways about, how I present myself to the world, but how folks feel about that, man, you can't really change that. That's in their mind, regardless. And that's not just Booker, that's anybody in the world. And so with all the other guys, I just felt like, because it wasn't just Booker and I, there were other men that were pursuing Lisa Ray. I think that for me, I was like, look, man, the best I can be is all I can be. And I'm not going to lose focus on trying to be the best me by worrying about somebody else.
Okay.
I won't shoot myself in the foot. Somebody else can do that. But it won't be me shooting my own self in the foot. So I'm just going to stick with, whatever time I have with Lisa Ray, make the most of it. Other than that, I'm positive. I'm not even thinking negative. I'm not worried about anybody else. What tricks up somebody else's sleeve somebody has, what gifts or what angle, what attributes. God bless you. I wish you the absolute best. Seriously. I'm just here to do my thing.
Okay. I definitely hear that. All right. So, coming to that last episode, we know what happened. Lisa, chose herself. But it was such a moving um, episode because of the fact that it was heartfelt. We could feel through the screen that this wasn't her just choosing herself to say so that she didn't have to choose or just so that she could become the bigger person. It genuinely was from a place of that she felt like she had to do the work for herself individually. But she felt strongly for both you and Booker as well, and it was an emotional scene. Run me through what it was like for you being on the other end of that, because you guys really did
Sure,
connect.
sure. I'll tell you, the main thing or the biggest thing is that there's a lot of that scene that you don't see. Um, just for TV time, they had to, edit it down. But we had a conversation. We talked about a lot of things. There's I don't know if you know the love story behind Taj Mahal, but it's a beautiful love story. There's another love story, um, Lord Rama, and that's another beautiful love story. And so we were talking about these love stories, these epic love stories, and um, how those played out and what they meant. And that was a big part of the conversation. And then um, lightening the mood a little bit, um, I took her on a little journey and said, and so I was talking about Taj, I was talking about Lord Rama, and then I said, you know what? There's one other love story that needs to be written, and that's when I stood up from the table and grabbed her hand and set the stage right quick, and um, she was like, "What in the world is about to happen?" And then I dropped it on her and said, would you allow me to, or let me carry on my taxes? And so she just, had a big laugh on all of that. And it was good. It was fun. I was like, have you seen Earn Your Leisure? We could get a 529 for the kids. It was fun. She had a good time with it. I did too. It lightened the mood. And then we finished the conversation. And in that conversation, she shared that, she had some things that she really needed to work on and that she needed to choose herself, and that I was a king, but not her king. And um, you know, sure, that's tough to hear that, but I think the beauty in it is the transparency. Hey, I like you. You can see, you can feel that I do like you. I have some things going on in my world that I need to take care of before I try to bring somebody else into my world. Um, I don't think that's a bad thing. I think we all need to look at stuff like that as a blessing, right? To be able to not put pressure on someone who's in a tough situation, and also understand that they're doing a mature thing and trying to reconcile it in the best ways possible, best organized fashion as they can. And so, um, yeah, man. I mean, it's tough to hear that, but that's the best news you could hear, is that someone who's going through something is still mindful enough to be able to take care of the thing they're going through, so that they can put that to rest, because that's not who they are, and they have consciousness enough to see that they are not themselves. Man, that's a blessing. You can't hate on that.
Definitely understand that. Definitely understand
Now, I
that.
would tell you that there was a lot of other conversations that were left out of the edits as well. Some really cool conversations, um, where we had a lot of dialogue, but only so much can make TV time.
Reaching the end, final words. What? How would you describe your experience on this show, and where does that leave you now?
How would I describe my experience on the show, and where does that leave me now? Um, it reminds me of the poem I was going to tell Lisa Rain, and it goes like, "The eyes don't lie. You ain't hard to figure. I can draw the picture. You want a mixture of a black father figure with the heart of a man with some game and some chains that want his woman to have the same, but at the same time bring more to the table than just this. A man that talk with a style and walk with a stride and stand strong. A man that wears manhood like cologne. Well, I got the Midas touch of the magic stick. You better add it quick because it's a shortage of men like me, and women are doing the mathematics. Every woman I talk to fine, but only a few of them inspiring. Whereas from the coach, the game is not playing, it's about retiring. That's that's how I feel about it. I feel like that show was a great experience. It was a lot of black men there. There's a lot of men of different races, but a lot of men of color there that were respectful with each other. Um, respectful to the ladies. I think that the conversations were authentic and there was vulnerability. Um, nothing against red pill, blue pill, but I think sometimes we need to take a chill pill and just really kind of get to know each other and not rush things. Um, I think a lot of those kinds of things came out about this show. There's fathers that are good fathers to their children. A lot of those kind of things came out about the show. And so um, I'm happy about how it turned out. I really am. I think that if you've never watched reality TV, this is a show that you'd watch and you would enjoy. As well as those that do watch reality TV, I've got a lot of feedback how people enjoy it. They binge it. Folks who rarely binge TV binge this show, and they found it very interesting. And so I'm really happy with that.
Man, listen, first and foremost, David, I appreciate you. And I say
I
that with all
appreciate you.
honesty. You're a good guy, and I love your energy. You know what I'm saying to you? Very smooth as always. But I love the fact that you are also backing that with, good sentiments, that you have been a backbone for friends. And you've shown yourself in a great light as well on the show. You handle yourself with decorum and class as well, and you set a great example for what we want to see when it comes to black men being on our screen. And I know that's not a facade. I know that's not a mask. That's generally just who you are. And I just want to pray that you continue in that vein and passion. And I pray that whatever you've put your mind to, which I know you will do, you're achieving it and you will continue to achieve it because you are going to be a beacon for a lot of people. Even if they don't say it to you, at least I can say it to you that, it was inspiring to watch you on that screen, that you can still be vivacious, full of life, but be grounded, and be you. So thank you so much for that, David. I appreciate you, honestly.
Absolutely, man. I appreciate you.
No worries. Audience, thank you very much, man. This has been a great time. And, if you don't know who he is, David Williams, go and follow him on Instagram. Okay, all right. Make sure you follow him. He's a sound individual as well. Listen, he's not just a good-looking man. He's also smart and intelligent, and he's grounded. Okay, so ladies, don't enter the DMs all at once, please. I beg. But we'll see you very soon, audience. Goodbye. Stay locked and stay loaded. We'll see you again very, very soon. Much love. Much